I'm sure when the NFL is scheduling these games back in whatever time that they schedule all their games and put them on prime time or whatever, I'm sure that they would have been thrilled to know that the Monday Night Football game between the Jaguars and the Bengals went into overtime. I'm sure they would have been less thrilled to know that it was a cook sesh between Jake Browning and CJ Beathard. Morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is by you. Welcome back to the Underqualified Knuckleheads Sports Podcast, Ball State's premier sports podcast. I'm your host, as always, Andy Newman. Alongside me, as always, per usual, the man, the myth, the legend, the Manuel, the Daniel Keene.
The man, the myth, the slight mustache. I think I'm developing my facial hair that I want for the rest of my life. I like the little mustache, little stubble. But when you do mustache, no like shaved face and mustache. Yeah. Scary times.
I need to shave.
Yeah,
it's bad.
Well, I mean, you're.
I'm a neckbeard boy, and I don't like it.
I think what I actually think is you're gonna be like one of those guys who never really had that much facial hair in college. No offense.
Yeah.
But then we're gonna see you at the 5 or 10 year reunion, and it's just gonna be like whomp.
I gotta be on TV. I doubt that they'll let me just have like a.
You can have like a nice groomed beard on TV.
Yeah.
But like. Maybe if you start producing and you're doing less off-camera stuff, womp.
We'll see. I would maybe go for something you got going on. I like what you got going on there.
I love what I got going on.
I don't know if I'm a big. Why is the connection on our live so bad? L, we're back. Never mind.
I wonder if it's. Does it still record?
Yeah, it does.
But
it doesn't
like
go
skip out?
No. Yeah. I think
I hope it doesn't. We have valuable listeners on the live.
Yes.
See? Look at all of them.
Gosh. It is just going in and out. What a day.
You know what? That's pretty frustrating. Just as frustrating as being a 13-win Power 5 school and not getting into the college football playoff. That's what we're leading the show with today.
Yeah.
Atrocities in the NCAA football world
were made.
Give you the lowdown real quick. 3 teams went undefeated in 2023. Those teams were Michigan, Washington, and Florida State. Those 3 teams all won their conference. Michigan won the Big Ten. Washington won the Pac-12, ripped the Pac-12, and Florida State.
Pac-2, baby.
Florida State won the ACC. All 3 of those schools are Power 5 schools. All 3 of those schools have wins against ranked top 25 opponents. Michigan beat Ohio State. They also beat Penn State. I don't think Iowa was ranked. Oh, Iowa was ranked at the time, but they beat Iowa in the Big Ten championships. Washington beat Oregon in the
Oregon.
Do I literally say that every time.
Oregon?
No, I say it wrong every time. Like I know I say it wrong, but
you just not know how to say the word Oregon?
Oregon. Because when I say Oregon, I think organ, like at a church.
Well, I think organ like the things that are in my body.
Organs?
Organs, yeah. There's an organ.
Washington beat Oregon. And some others. I think they have another victory. Louisville. Yeah. Washington beat Louisville?
No, I just said it because it's like people
Florida
call it
State beat Louisville, and they beat ranked LSU, who was ranked pretty highly at the time. They decided to play them on neutral field and whooped them. And only 2 of those teams made it into the CFP Final Four.
Yeah.
That being Michigan and Washington.
Correct.
Washington. Florida State was the odd one out, ranked 5th. The other 2 teams in the top 4 are Texas, Big 12 champion Texas. They're 12-1, and the 12-1 SEC champion Alabama. A load of baloney, if you ask me.
It's just the fact that they didn't make the playoff after going undefeated.
As a Power 5 school,
correct,
winning their Power 5 conference and having wins over ranked opponents.
I think it just shows the flaw in this is the last year for that 4-team playoff. I think it is completely a flawed system, and how college football works is honestly a flawed system in my professional opinion. I'm not professional. In my personal opinion, how about that? I don't understand how you can judge teams subjectively. It's like, and I heard this comparison made. Sports are judged in different ways. Football is a sport that should be judged objectively. There's an objective winner, objectively beating teams and winning and going places. Not subjectively like a figure skating, for example. Figure skating cannot be won or done without a subjective reasoning, but football does not make sense to be judged subjectively, yet it is consistently every year in college football as teams are getting into that, especially this year. This is the biggest year that has been judged subjectively with that eye test or whatever it is. It doesn't make any sense, in my personal opinion. The fact that football teams are being judged by, ooh, that team looks really good, let's put them in there because 13 people said so, and Florida State objectively did everything possible to make it in there and should have been in there. I don't understand. Football is not a subjective sport. It's an objective sport with winners, losers, points scored. I don't get how you can put a team that has one loss over a team that has none in a Power 5 conference.
Additionally,
it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
And football,
honestly,
for years,
you know, it would make sense for the CFP playoff. You know, during the era that we've done this 4-team playoff.
This is it for it.
Maybe do a 5-team playoff, and the number 1 seed gets a bye, and then you have the winner of each Power 5 conference. Like, are we stupid or what?
Yeah. Well, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it does. It does.
It wouldn't work.
Why not?
There'd be 3 teams left.
No, like the first team gets a bye.
Yeah.
And the other 2
You can't do a 5-team bracket.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so there's the 4 teams play each other. Both of those have a winner. So there's the team that has the bye and then 2 winners.
Okay.
So they have 2 byes.
Okay, I'm seeing the flaws in my logic here. Scrap that. There's my underqualified knucklehead showing. But
a 6-team.
A 6-team would be good.
Yes.
Yeah, because then we could get Georgia and Florida State there.
Correct.
That'd be good. That'd be fun. That'd be really fun.
It should have been, honestly, this year if they'd have gone to 8, that'd have been great. That'd have been perfect. I mean, Oregon would probably, not Oregon. Yeah, Oregon. It would have probably been the only school that would have been like, why do we really need to put them in the playoff? But all the other teams, all 7 and up, are all deserving of being in that playoff.
All pretty good.
Yes.
Either way, then the big thing for Florida State for the I don't know what I'm saying. The big thing for the CFP was that Florida State doesn't have their starting quarterback Jordan Travis. That sucks.
Yeah,
that really sucks. And their starting quarterback has done a lot for them this year.
Correct.
But does one man make a team?
That's what I was going to say.
Does one man make a team?
Everyone talks about this sport being the ultimate team sport. Well, then why are you discounting an entire team based on one guy? It's not the ultimate team sport. I don't understand that. I mean, he cannot have been that. He was probably pretty integral.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, I understand that they would probably be a playoff team right now if he was still there. But it doesn't make any sense to discount an entire team.
An entire team
of 52 other guys or however many people they have on that college roster. Just discounting all of them and all of their efforts based on one guy. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. And to your point that I saw on Twitter, and I'm sure you're going to probably bring up right now, well, if he's so important, then what should he be?
Should be the Heisman favorite. I tweeted this as a shower thought. I was thinking about it.
Got a little traction.
It got a little traction.
It got like 2,000 views or something?
It did? Oh,
yeah,
geez.
I saw.
Oh, look at me. Call me Caleb Zuver.
Not that much.
Not that much. No, but I was thinking about it in the shower. If this guy is so important that you leave a team out of the national semifinal because of his absence, shouldn't he be the front runner for the Heisman Trophy, the college football's MVP winner? Except they announced the Heisman Trophy finalists, and Jordan Travis is not on there. So, respectfully, what the
Yeah, your tweet got 2,000 views, by the way. So shout out to that, and 17 likes, 4 retweets, and a comment. That's some Twitter traction right there.
Look at me. Speaking of, the 4 Heisman Trophy finalists are Jaden Daniels, Marvin Harrison Jr., Bo Nix, and Michael Penix Jr. I think it's going to be Jaden Daniels. He's just been the most electrifying player on the field out of everybody. No offense to Marvin Harrison. He kind of had a down year. No offense to Bo Nix. Guy needs to grow up and get a job. And no offense to Michael Penix. He plays in the Pac-12.
Well, Bo Nix is probably going to get a job in the NFL, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
So, I mean, he will grow up and get a job in that regard. I don't know. I wouldn't say you could give it to Marvin Harrison this year. Dude has not done that great. I mean, he's been really, really good. I mean, he's obviously one of the best prospects to come out of this draft.
Will be the top wide receiver off the board.
I love Marvin Harrison Jr. and all he has to do. I always knew that I honestly legitimately knew he was going to be great when he was a freshman, purely because I'm like, that guy's Marvin Harrison's kid. He'll probably be really good. And I loved Marvin Harrison. And I was right. And I've been rooting for him, even though he's an Ohio State Buckeye kind of guy, which not a big fan of that aspect of it.
Yes, sir.
I'd like more of a Syracuse, like his father before him. But anyway, besides the point, he is a fantastic generational talent, but I don't know if he's enough of a talent to make a Heisman push, in my opinion.
Also, the Heisman is low key just a QB award now.
Well, that's what any award everywhere is, except for personally, every MVP type award is always going to be a QB award, and whatever.
Would it discredit it if they did a quarterback of the year and then a non-quarterback MVP?
No, I don't know if that really worked. It just quarterback of the year is kind of a.
That's why they have offensive and defenve player of the year in the NFL.
Correct.
That's good.
Which and I think I don't know. I'm just saying this is just me. I think as of right now the MVP frontrunner for the NFL should be Tyreek Hill.
Honestly, if he beats Calvin Johnson's record, give it to him.
Low-key, I don't know. There's not another player in my mind that is carrying a team more than Tyreek Hill right now.
Yeah.
And you can't give it to Tua because literally all of Tua's stats are just Tyreek Hill's stats.
Yep. And
other than the couple passes he throws to Jalen Waddle.
And look at it this way. We are in a season of the NFL, transitioning into our new topic. We're in a season of the NFL where quarterbacks have not had the best of luck. Let me read off some of these major quarterback injuries we've seen this year. First up, Joe Burrow, injury reserved. He underwent surgery to repair a torn ligament in his wrist. He's out for the season.
Yep.
Deshaun Watson, I don't hurt for this guy. I do not like this guy. Not a cool character.
I saw a graphic between him, or like a side-by-side comparison between him out for the season and Joe Burrow out for the season. Joe Burrow was down on the sidelines helping his quarterbacks out and being on the sidelines, being an active member. So was Anthony Richardson. Deshaun Watson's up in the suite.
Yep. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
He underwent surgery on the displaced fracture in his right throwing shoulder. He's out for the year. Hendon Hooker, I mean, that's different. That's an already other injury. I'm just going down all of them.
Yep.
But Anthony Richardson underwent surgery to grade 3 AC joint sprain in his right shoulder. Trevor Lawrence, still questionable. Doug Peterson said today that it was a high ankle sprain in Monday's 34-31.
Usually those are the worst, I thought.
Loss to the Bengals, but he didn't put a timetable on it. He said he could be back for the rest of the year. They're not calling him out for the season yet, but high ankle sprains are the worst because they're a sprain. There's no fracture. You can't, there's no, this is where it's broken. This is where it needs to heal. There's no surgery that can help it. It's really just rehab and rest, which is just most painful for most quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins out for the year with a torn Achilles. Derek Carr, he's got a concussion, but his right throwing shoulder's had some injuries as well. Daniel Jones, knee, he's going to be out for the rest of the year. He's expected to be the starter when he comes back. Aaron Rodgers misses the rest of the season with
Whoa.
Presumably was out for the season with a torn Achilles, but he might come back. Kenny Pickett, he's going to be down.
Which is crazy.
Yes. 100%.
I don't understand that. Yeah.
Literally, the people who are calling him out for lying about the injury, I almost understand their suspicions, but don't call out a guy for his injury like that. Next up on the list, Kenny Pickett. He's going to be out. He's going to be out for a little while. High ankle sprain.
Hopefully out for the Colts game. That'd be cool.
Yep. They don't want him. They don't want him at the Colts game.
I don't want the Steelers at the Colts game. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about that.
And I think, am I missing anybody, or that was it?
I think that sounds like everybody.
But yeah, quarterbacks have been all over.
It's
the
been
place
bad.
Today.
Kyler
Murray comes back from his ACL.
Kyler Murray was out for most of the year. How about that?
It's just been a down year for quarterbacks, and that's not anything negative about quarterbacks. Just a lot of unlucky plays.
And I tweeted this out earlier last night. The fact that I'm sure. When the NFL is scheduling these games back in whatever time that they schedule all their games and put them on prime time or whatever, I'm sure that they would have been thrilled to know that the Monday Night Football game between the Jaguars and the Bengals went into overtime. I'm sure they would have been less thrilled to know that it was a cook sesh between Jake Browning and CJ Beathard. I don't even know how you would even react to that statement if you heard that at the beginning of the year. It's going to be a great game overtime between the Bengals. Two teams you would assume would be competing for an AFC championship kind of thing. And then both of the quarterbacks that you're there to watch are both out. And it's two guys you've pretty much never heard of. CJ Beathard I've heard of at least a little bit. But Jake Browning I feel has come out of nowhere. And you know what? He played really well last night. Obviously this is Tuesday for whatever time it is by you. So this is Tuesday of the week or whatever it is. He's a system quarterback. He played really awful 2 weeks ago, but this past week he was cooking, in my opinion.
He was cooking.
He was cooking. Hey, the Bengals sitting at 6-6.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Drew Plitt could get some time. We'll see.
We'll see.
He's 2 in line. He's 2 behind. So if Jake Browning gets hurt, and then AJ McCarron gets hurt,
oh my gosh,
Drew Plitt's in.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about it that much on the show, but shout out
Drew for making
Drew Plitt for
he's on the roster
on the roster for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes.
Friend of the pod. Comes on the pod, big things happen. That's all I can say. So any of you athletes
got
out
mentioned
there,
in Cincinnati.com.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was great.
That was weird. Andy sent me the link to that, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah. But congratulations to Drew. If he wants to come back on the pod and tell us about his NFL experience, we could get that set up. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, just a tough year for quarterbacks. It was still a good week of NFL play, though. I mean, Seahawks Cowboys was a close one on Thursday Night Football. Falcons Jets was boring, but yeah. Texans beat the Broncos and their 5-game win streak. CJ Stroud's just he could even be the MVP. He could be the MVP for all I care. I don't know about you.
What do you mean?
Like CJ Stroud could be the MVP.
I don't know. I don't know if they're ever going to give that to a rookie, in my opinion. Again, I still think that Tyreek Hill should be the front runner for that. I don't know if that's like a crazy, outlandish thing, but I think that he'll 1,000% win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
I mean that's pretty much. I think that's more. Maybe you know what? Maybe they give him Offensive Rookie of the Year even, but I don't know if he wins MVP. That's just me.
Well, if he does win MVP, it will not be the first time it's happened in NFL history. In 1957, Jim Brown of the Cleveland Browns.
He was a rookie when he won the MVP?
Yep, became the only rookie to win MVP.
That's nuts.
He rushed for 942 yards on 202 carries, averaged 4.7 yards a carry with 9 touchdowns in just 12 games.
I don't consider that the NFL, though. I mean, like, it is.
1957?
It is, but, like, I consider the AFL-NFL merger more of, like, the actual NFL when you can.
Okay,
yeah,
I'll give you that. Whatever.
I don't know, but it was probably a lot easier to win that as a rookie back in the day than it would be post-merger, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think it's a little bit different of a beast.
Well, it still says NFL on its MVP awards. So.
It does, would you count an AFL MVP as the same as an NFL MVP or no?
Well, yeah, I would count them as like co-MVPs.
Ooh, okay.
But
I like that.
Yeah.
Besides the point, I mean, that's still a fantastic accomplishment. I'm not discounting any of the things that happened back then because the Colts won a couple championships, but those aren't counted for nothing.
Sounds like he is discounting a lot of it right
I'm
now.
not.
Actually.
No,
I think you're just a hater.
No, I'm not. I'm not a hater. Then I'd be discounting Bill Russell's accomplishments in the NBA before the ABA merger. So I'm not going to do that, okay?
Yeah, I'm breezing through the games we won't talk about too much today, but like they were all right. Texans Broncos, Chargers Patriots, man, 6-0.
That is a barn burner if I've ever seen one before in my life.
Have you seen the TikToks of the guys ragging on Justin Herbert, and they were like, "Why doesn't he know that he needs to put it right in his chest on his throws?" And it's just clips of Quentin Johnson dropping passes left and right.
That guy was the first wide receiver off the board this year.
What is up with his hands?
So bad. I don't know.
Because like,
he was great at TCU. He was so good at TCU. If you watched any of those games,
yeah, he was outstanding. I mean, they made the national championship.
Yeah.
I
didn't play well.
Didn't play well at all. Whatever.
Ooh.
But I will say, crazy part about that, I forgot what I was saying.
That is crazy.
Dang it.
That is crazy.
I would agree. It was going to be a really good comment. It's going to come back to me.
Speaking of comments, are there any comments cool on the live there? Anything? I'm seeing some stuff.
There's like 4 comments. Andy, I love your hat. So keep running the hat.
Shout out
Andy.
Everyone who likes my hat. I bought it on eBay for $15.
Ooh, nice purchase.
Yes. Nice purchase. Hold on. They can see I just turned it around so they can see the Ball State logo.
I think they knew it was a Ball State logo.
I don't know if they did.
Okay. I thought it said it on the other side
it's
too.
just the one side.
It's
the Ball State hat. It's Ball State Pacers hat. It's all red with the black and the white. Also, shout out Pacers. We could talk about that a little bit here in a second. I'd like to talk about that.
You're going to actually talk about the Pacers today?
I can, yeah.
We're going to talk NBA basketball?
We can a little bit.
All right, let's get through the NFL.
Yeah.
Going through the games, we won't talk about too much. Chargers, Patriots, whatever. Bill Belichick's leaving at the end of the season. We know.
You really think so?
Writing is on the wall. It's not working in New England anymore. Also, the more removed we are from the Tom Brady as a Patriot era, the more it's the fact that maybe he can't win without Tom Brady.
I cannot wait for Sunday or Thursday night football this week. I'm really excited to watch Mitch Trubisky cut it up with Bailey Zappi.
I actually think that'll be good for the Steelers. I want to see.
You think that Mitch Trubisky is a better choice than Kenny Pickett to lead the Steelers?
No, but I like to see him getting an opportunity. I'm an opportunist kind of guy.
I thought you would hate Mitch Trubisky. Or you probably would like Mitch Trubisky because it made the Bears so bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But also he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy.
All right.
Either way, Cardinals Steelers. Cardinals get the win. Kenny Pickett goes down. Dolphins beat the pants off the Commanders. I don't know why they haven't fired Ron Rivera yet. I think they just don't care enough. Right now, new ownership coming in, they're just whatever. Let him have his fun in the sandbox, and he's out at the end of the season.
Did you see Terry McLaurin had 0 targets and 0 receptions?
His quote was got a lot of good cardio.
Cardio, yeah.
I loved that.
Terrible.
Bucks beat the Panthers. It was whatever. Panthers, the first team eliminated from playoff contention. I remember what it was like in those days when we were the first team being eliminated from playoff contention.
Not fun.
It started as a barn burner, but Sunday Night Football, 49ers-Eagles was great until it wasn't.
It was awful.
It was great. It wasn't Sunday Night Football, Sunday afternoon football.
It was 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
4 o'clock slate.
Well, it was dark out, so call it Sunday night. It was good for the first quarter, and then 49ers just beat the pants off them.
Yes. Deebo Samuel.
Deebo Samuel, he talked mad trash before the game. Love it. He showed up in all black. Love it. Black Air Force One energy. Love it. And then read his stat line.
All right, so Deebo Samuel as only a wide receiver, though, which is nuts, had 4 receptions for 116 yards, which is an average of 29 yards per catch and 2 touchdowns. As a running back, he had 3 carries for 22 yards, which is 7.3 average yards per carry and 1 touchdown. 3 touchdowns on how much is it? 116 plus 122? I can't do quick math. I'm going to need to figure it out for the SAT. 138. For
116 plus 122.
116 plus 22.
38.
138.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So he had 138 yards of total offense on 3 touchdowns and touched the ball 7 times. Yeah,
lock him up. That's criminal.
Yeah,
That's
criminal. Christian McCaffrey even had a good game too. 17 carries for 93 yards and a touchdown. I mean,
it was just good.
Not
49ers are the team to beat in the NFC. If they don't make the Super Bowl, I will be shocked.
That was the game that really kind of solidified the fact that I think that the Niners were going to be the team that you're going to want to look out for.
And watching that game, okay, Kyle Smedley said this in the sports pod in the newsroom the other day. He said the Lions are screwed if they meet the Eagles.
I don't know.
I think the Lions can beat that Eagles
I wouldn't
team.
say that they're screwed if they beat the Eagles. I think they're screwed if they beat the Niners.
No,
if they meet the Niners. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
if they meet the Niners, I don't think that the Lions really have a chance against this team.
No,
I mean,
I don't think anybody has a chance against this team. If they get in the groove and they get going, you're done.
The only way that you have a chance against the 49ers is that you prey on the downfall of Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, and George Kittle. Honestly, if Deebo and Christian McCaffrey are both out, it's over. It's over.
Yep. And Mr. Irrelevant is the betting odd favorite for the NFL MVP.
Which is nuts. He's not even really doing anything.
He is. He's getting in there. I mean, to be fair.
Okay, this is probably one of his best weeks ever.
To be fair, this is like the supporting cast of dreams. Like every quarterback goes to bed waking up to be on a team that is that good.
I mean, and their wide receivers aren't even that great. I mean, it's just Brandon Ayuk and Debo's pretty much half a running back anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like if you had one extra wide receiver on that team, give them a Michael Pittman Jr. Whoo! There's no way you're stopping anyone. Especially with that D-line, that O-line. They have literally every single thing that you could possibly want at a premium, except for quarterback and except for a one more wide receiver, I think is all you'd really need.
Yeah, but like we said, I think they're the team to beat in the NFC.
Imagine if that Trey Lance pick hits.
Yeah.
If Trey Lance is as good as he's supposed to be and that actually works out, who is stopping them?
Wait. Trey Lance.
If when the Niners initially drafted Trey Lance, if he wasn't a bust, if he was as good as everyone predicted him to be,
I was gonna say, you mean Trey Lance is on the Cowboys now?
No. If I'm saying when the Niners drafted Trey Lance, if he would have turned out to be as good as everyone thought he was going to be, and been leading this Niners team, it would be
crazy.
so over.
That'd be crazy.
It would literally be like a Chiefs with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Speaking of the Chiefs, they fall to the Packers in Sunday Night Football. That loss to the Packers over Thanksgiving for the Lions is looking just a little bit better. Rams beat the Browns, and don't look now, but the Rams are in the hunt for a playoff spot.
So the Packers are in.
Packers are actively in.
That is nuts. They went from 4-6 to beating the Chiefs and the Lions and in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're not going to beat us on the return game, but whatever.
Whoa. Oh, yeah, you guys do play them twice.
Yeah, we play them twice in our division. And then yesterday, Bengals beat the Jags. We talked about that a little bit already. Now let's get to our teams.
Bengals beat the Jags in overtime, by the way, again. And that was an important game for my team. If I can go and talk about my team first a little bit.
The floor is yours.
This is a massive game, honestly, for a Colts team right now. The Bengals beating the Jags. I mean, the only thing that really kind of hurts is the fact that the Bengals are now sitting at 6-6, and this makes for a huge matchup next week, or this week actually, with the Bengals and the Colts down in Cincinnati. But the Bengals beating the Jags here puts the Jags down at 8-4, and with the Colts win over the Titans in insane fashion this past Sunday, really puts. I mean, the Colts are one game away from beating the Jag, or 2 games really, from an AFC South title, which is kind of nuts. And it sucks that the Colts have already played the Jaguars twice, and there's really no way of surpassing them. They just have to hope and pray on their downfall for a couple weeks here, which I don't really know if is going to happen. Colts have to take care of business in the last 5 weeks. One of those is the last game of the year against the Texans, which is going to be massive if things continue to go the way that they're going. But the Colts are on a 4-game win streak.
Don't look now. They're 7-5.
They're 7-5. And this is a massive, massive game over the Titans. And a game I really thought we were going to lose for a long time there. We blocked 2 punts in a row, which I'm like, all right, well, we're going to win. And then we capitalized on nothing. Our offense is not great. It's not pretty to look at. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I mean, if you have an Anthony Richardson on this team, I think they were a lot better than they are right now. I mean, Gardner Minshew makes a lot of mistakes and does a lot of things that I really don't like. But you know what? At the end of the day, we found a way to get it done, which is great. I mean, I think Shane Steichen, with how much he's had to deal with, and how well the Colts are doing right now, should legitimately be in a conversation for Coach of the Year.
Yeah,
I think he deserves at least a nomination of some sort.
Honestly, though, it's probably
doing better.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, yeah, but I think that Shane Steichen deserves at least some sort of nod or.
Oh yeah,
give him.
He'll probably be in the talk.
Yeah, because the Colts have lost their starting quarterback. That was supposed to be like the whole point of the season. 2, he's taken a team that's supposed to be a 3-win team this year, and they're 7-5 right now. He's taken a team that has 2 veteran players who are supposed to be leaders in the locker room. One had to be cut, and the other one has had A, contract negotiations where he said he didn't want to be on the team anymore, and B, had injuries issues. And then C, it literally has, or I don't know what point I'm on, maybe 4 or 5, has been running with their backup quarterback the entire year and winning games left and right. They're 4-0. In the last 4 weeks. I think that Shane Steichen has done a fantastic job. And he's a first-year head coach. That's another thing. This is his first year as a head coach. He's never been a head coach before. He's never really done this thing before. And Mans is putting on a show. The only thing that I would say that I'm not been a huge fan on with Shane Steichen lately is those 2-minute drive things at the end of the half, end of the game. He's not very great. His clock management's a little weird, and how he does everything is kind of odd. That's besides the point. At the end of the day, wins are wins, and he's gotten 4 of them in a row.
Yeah. Hey, good for him. Good for the Colts.
And the Colts,
Good for Andy. Good for everyone involved.
And everyone in the AFC, down from the 5th seed all the way down to, I do believe, the 8th seed, is all tied in record. Mm-hmm. The Browns are 7-5. The Steelers are 7-5. The Colts are 7-5. The Texans are 7-5. And the Colts play 2 of those teams in the next 5 weeks that they have here. They play the Steelers in 2 weeks, and then the Texans in 5. So if those two, if we are able to beat both of those teams and win a couple more, I mean, if we win out, I mean, we're 12-5, which is nuts. I don't know if that's going to happen. I think we always lose to the Steelers. It's just kind of what it is. But Colts have a lot of big games coming up in December and early January that you would have never expected to be this big at all.
It'll be good. It'll be very good. It's actually exciting time to be a Colts fan. Also exciting time to be a Lions fan. Get back into winning ways in New Orleans.
This started out great.
We
did not end great.
I showed up. I think I was like 5 minutes late. I was getting back from the store or something, and they were already up 14-0. And I was like, okay. And then we went 21-0. First quarter score, 21-0. Final score, 33-28. So I think defensively, this team needs to do a lot more. I think offensively, this team needs to be able to really just put games away. You know, we were in the driver's seat at halftime. I mean, it was 24-7 at halftime. 14 points in the third quarter from New Orleans, unacceptable. Especially when they score and us only able to put up 9 points throughout the rest of the game. Like first half score is 24-7.
Yeah.
Second half score is 21-9.
And I was checking
I
was checking the scores while the Colts game was going on. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have a good podcast with Keen. He's very excited. And then I kept seeing like that score kind of dwindle. And then I out of nowhere I kind of noticed that the final score was 33-28. I was like, whoa. That initial beatdown that the Lions were given did not end that way.
Yep, it definitely. You know, they still led for the game. Like there wasn't any crazy worry, but it was too close for comfort. I mean, especially with this New Orleans team,
win.
We got to be putting them away. We got to be really shutting them up in the second half. But you know, really good game, really great game from Sam Laporta. 140 yards, 1 touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs 60 yards on 8 carries. Jared Goff, especially coming off that Packers game, just a really solid performance. 16 for 25, 213 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's just everything you need from a guy like that. Just good get back to winning ways, going into a big game against the Bears, but big game is in. Let's just sit on them.
Beat the Bears. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, let's talk NBA for a second.
Hold on. Did we even talk Falcons Jets at all? Did you mention that?
I mentioned it, but I don't.
I just wanted to say one thing. I think it is nuts that all the reports that are coming out of the fact a lot of weird things are going on in New York with all their quarterback stuff. Hearing that Aaron Rodgers might be activated as an emergency quarterback as the third string for the Jets is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want your take on this. Do you buy what is going on with this miracle surgery that has made him eligible to play again this season?
I mean, it wasn't even miracle surgery. He got the same surgery that everybody else that tears their Achilles has.
Well, then why is
his recovery has just been outstanding? So maybe...
Do you buy that it's actually legitimately like, hey, this guy could play?
Maybe it wasn't an Achilles tear. Maybe it was an Achilles...
itch?
Like it wasn't torn all the way. You know, maybe
it kind of looked like it.
Maybe it was a small tear. I don't know.
I don't know. I think it was a legitimate tear, and I think that he's just a little delusional on how well this is actually working.
I mean, but he's not though. I mean, we've watched videos of him taking snaps in practice. Yeah, he's not the most mobile. He's still getting back there, but like
it's crazy.
It's crazy. It is crazy. And you know what? Whatever he's doing is cool because. I mean, we've heard of quick recoveries before. We've had big recoveries before in the NFL. Just from a guy like him, you want to be a little skeptical. You want to be a little conspiracy theory-esque, you know?
I mean, he is the COVID toe immunized guy, so.
Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. And if he comes back, good for him.
Yeah, and then also with the Jets, reports coming out that Zach Wilson said, I don't know if I'm ready to start again.
I think Robert Saleh shut that down pretty quickly.
It was just funny. That whole
very much
was,
was like if he didn't want to play, he wouldn't be on a roster. And I don't think that's the case with the Jets. I don't think that's the case with Zach Wilson. I think there might be a little bit of.
Well, the report came out that Zach Wilson was quote reluctant to step back into a starting role after they was offered back to him after pretty much massive L's by who the heck even took over the reins there. It was Trevor Siemian after, and then
it was Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle, and then Trevor Siemian, and then both of them were terrible.
Yeah, I think maybe reluctant isn't the best word. I think maybe a little pissed. I mean, I'd be pissed too if you took my starting job away. You let two guys.
Well, that's the quote that just came out.
Really
it said reluctant.
Really mess it up, and then they offer it back to you. Like I said, though, it's not a direct quote from him. It's rumors. It's
Correct.
Rumors on rumors. It's agents trying to say stuff. It's people trying to say, oh, he doesn't want to be there or whatever.
Yeah.
I take reports like that worth a grain of salt, and I think most people should. I think Robert Saleh shut that down. Like I said, he said if he was reluctant to play, he wouldn't be on our roster.
Correct.
But yeah, nothing major there. I think it is a nice little full circle moment. I would like to see Zach do well in his role if he's back as the starter. I just think it's a full circle moment where the Jets now need Zach Wilson.
They do. And I don't know. The Jets, this season's over. I mean, it was over when Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles. I mean, at that point, it was Jover.
Yeah.
And by the way, I figured out where that Jover thing comes from. It is from a meme of Joe Biden, and it's just him looking sad, and it just says it's Jover.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I don't know. I asked Caleb Zuber what the origin of it was, and he goes, this. I go, oh, okay.
Nice. Makes a bit of sense.
Yeah, it does. It's Jover. Anyway, it is Jover really for the Jets. It's Jets Jover. Jover Jets.
Yep. And I honestly think if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I know he's wanting to come back. He's trying to get back as quick as possible. But if my team isn't even fighting for a playoff spot, don't waste it. Don't risk it. I get it. He's coming back miraculously, but what if he comes back and immediately just breaks in the game?
Yep. It'd be bad. It'd be terrible.
It'd be terrible.
Well, then he could just do the same recovery again, and he'll be fine. Just do it again and again.
But then that'd be a vicious cycle of getting injured a lot. Either way, to round out the show today, I wanted to bring up a conversation looping all the way back to college football and NCAA. Are
we talking NBA at all or no?
Oh, shoot. Yeah. Give me your NBA thoughts.
I was just going to say last night was the Pacers in-season tournament game. I think that what Adam Silver has done with that idea, if no one really knows, this is the first year. I really don't understand how it works or the format of it. I think it probably should be improved a little bit, in my opinion. But there is an in-season tournament this year during the regular season, and the winner of that gets each player gets $500K, and it's the first time it's ever happened. A lot of people were kind of reluctant to this idea and were hesitant on the whole thought process. Like, why would you do a tournament in the season? And it has really taken off and done super, super well. And crazy enough, the Pacers are currently 5-0 in that tournament right now. They just beat the Celtics, which are obviously one of the best teams in the NBA. And I think they're moving on to the finals of the eastern side of the bracket or however it works. But I know there was a big game going down at not Bankers Life anymore, Gainbridge Fieldhouse last night. And my friend Bryce, friend of the podcast, a couple other guys that I know were down there and said it was really like a playoff atmosphere, which is super cool. I mean, obviously, you know that there's been a big issue. We've talked about it on this podcast before of NBA regular season kind of just being, who cares? I mean, there's 84 other games. We'll just win another one. And it seems like this is actually it's done well, and fans have been engaged and have actually been interested in the matchups, and it has created that playoff-like atmosphere in a December, which is something that you really have never seen before in the NBA. So just hats off to Adam Silver for being probably one of the most risk-taker initiative kind of guys that commissioners that you have in Major League Sports, and at least in our in America. And
I think the big play here will be yes, this is great, as long as this hype stays up going forward. It's new, it's fun, it's crazy, but is it going to work next year or on year 5 of this?
I just wish that there was more of an easier way to understand what was going on, because the in-season tournament, we'll play one, and then you'll have 2 games of regular season, and then you'll have a game again, and then it's just kind of weird and confusing how it all works. I wish it was just all right, in-season tournament starts, everybody plays, if you lose, you're out, kind of thing. Make it a lot easier, and I'd probably watch those games more, but I just don't know when and where and how and whatever. But shout out the Pacers for doing really, really well. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton and their entire crew down there in Indianapolis, are doing really well. And kind of revitalizing a Pacers program that's really been dead since Victor Oladipo got out of town. So, I mean, I might need to turn in some more games here. So, yeah hey.
Well, back to, and I mean, good for the NBA. I mean, the Lions, or not the Lions, the Pistons suck. I would talk about the Pistons, but the Pistons suck.
Rip.
The Detroit Lions have more wins in this calendar year than the Detroit Pistons.
That is bad.
That's ugly. That's stupid ugly.
And then also, speaking of wins, by the way, shout out the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur, being 16-0 in December.
Yeah,
I saw that stat. Crazy.
Guy likes the month of December.
Crazy. Look for the Packers to make a run, by the way.
Yeah, look for the Packers to make a run.
Do you guys play the Packers again?
Yeah, we do. I think we play them in the
I think you said
season
that, yeah.
finale.
Hey, that's going to
No. We don't play them. I'm sorry. We beat them earlier in the year.
And then they just beat you.
Then they beat us.
Okay.
I was meant to say Vikings. We still have 2 games against the Vikings and 1 game against the Bears. We also play the Cowboys and the Broncos. So it's a tough 5-game stretch, but I'm confident. I honestly think that the Cowboys game is going to be tough and close and ugly, but the Lions are going to come out on top, and it's going to say a lot about that team, and Mike McCarthy is going to get fired. Another thing, Detroit sports-wise, 2 things actually. Jim Leland, former Detroit Tigers head coach, current special assistant, was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Jim. I met him once. Really cool guy.
Shout out,
Smokes
Jim.
packs in the dugout. It's just him. AJ Hinch, the current coach, got extended for the Tigers. I'm not too sure how I feel about that move. We'll talk about that a little bit more as MLB season comes by. But to round out the episode, like I mentioned before, let's talk NCAA. NCAA name, image, and likeness, something that's been pretty constant in the college football world since its inception and even before its inception. But NCAA president announced on Tuesday, this is Charlie Baker, the proposed creation of a new...
And by Tuesday, you mean today?
Yes, today.
Okay,
today.
understood.
Sorry. The proposed creation of a subdivision within Division I football that would allow the highest resource schools the ability to compensate athletes directly through a trust fund and direct name, image, and likeness payments. The groundbreaking proposal was sent out today, and he's looking for feedback on it. But here's basically this is via The Athletic. Shout out The Athletic. I don't know why we shout out The Athletic. It's The Athletic. This is how they broke it down in their article. But the formation of a new subdivision made up of institutions with the highest resources that can directly compensate athletes through, quote, enhanced educational trust fund, which requires the schools that opt into this, or that opt into the subdivision or committing to it.
So like your Notre Dames, your Alabamas.
Yeah.
Okay.
To opt into an investment of at least $30,000 per year per athlete for at least half of the school's eligible athletes. Schools would have to adhere to Title IX, providing equal monetary opportunities for both female and male athletes. Schools in the new subdivision could create their own rules separate from the rest of Division I, and those rules would allow them the ability to address policies such as scholarship limits, roster sizes, as well as transfers and name, image, and likeness. Any Division I school would be able to enter into an NIL deal with its athletes directly, which is currently not permissible under the NIL rules. Additionally, any Division I school would be able to distribute to any athlete funding related to educational benefits without any cap on such compensation.
So essentially, no cap for big school.
Basically, what we are already doing,
but more.
What we've already seen with conference realignment, the big schools separating themselves from the small schools, creating a bigger divide both financially and competitively in Division I college athletics.
This seems to be going in the wrong direction. Yeah.
Oh, what? Really?
Yes.
Are further dividing themselves and separating themselves from other schools.
It seems to be going in the wrong. I think I even watched. As I just said, this is going in the wrong direction. I even watched like a clip of Matt Rule talking to the boosters or whatever at Nebraska. This goes, yeah, quarterback now, good quarterback with the transfer portal costs $1.5 to $2 million.
It does.
I go, whoa,
it does.
That is nuts. Ball State can't pay for that.
Ball State won't pay for that. But so let's loop Ball State into this conversation.
We're screwed, yeah.
Ball State is already fighting to stay relevant in the Mid-American Conference, which is already heavily divided. If you look at any school in the Mid-American Conference, let's say Miami, who won the Mid-American Conference, I don't think made the top 25 for the AP poll.
No, they did not. Well, the AP poll had Toledo at 23, but they lost, obviously.
So what are we doing? So there's already a separation between small schools and big schools. And now the bigger schools are separating themselves from already big schools. So what I'm reading when I read this, one, I understand that schools would have to adhere to Title IX, providing equal opportunity, monetary opportunities to both female and male athletes. Do I think that's going to happen? Hell no.
Well, because
right now, sorry, keep going.
You can't. How would you even be able to compensate, I don't know, a women's basketball player that isn't sorry, why am I blanking on her name?
Allie Becky?
No, 22 on Iowa.
Oh,
Caitlin Clark. God, thank God. There isn't a Caitlin Clark or an Angel Reese like someone that is just relatively great for their school, like a great Texas athlete, a great Texas women's basketball player, how would you even be close to being able to compensate them as much as, or anywhere close to Arch Manning? Like, you're going to pay Arch Manning way, way, way more.
And it doesn't
make any sense.
In the event that this gets in place, I think the equal opportunities needs to be the biggest factor that comes into play here. But what I'm reading is what we are trying to do is pretty much flood the system logistically in NIL and NCAA to make it murkier and murkier and murkier so that schools can kind of do whatever they want. The more we add these implementations, the more we open up barriers, the more we allow schools to make their own subcommittees and subdivisions, are we or are we not just making it easier for corruption to spread in the NCAA?
I would have hoped that they would have maybe scaled this back and tried to have created a cap for some of these schools, so like the NFL has with cap space, so owners aren't paying their players millions more dollars because they have billions more dollars. I would have thought that we would have been trying to move in a positive direction where you could help schools like a MAC school or a Sun Belt Conference
because
school.
The NCAA is not worried about moving in a positive direction anymore. The NCAA is worried about competing with professional teams in terms of money, in terms of viewership, in terms of TV deals, in terms of popularity.
That gets them more money. Yeah.
Because they forget the role that they play in the lives of these student athletes. I think that the NCAA has completely bucked the idea that they are here for the development of student athletes. What reads on their masthead, what reads at the end of every single NCAA ad they have is out the window because the NCAA is not worried about their athletes anymore. The NCAA
or academics
at all.
Nowhere close.
The NCAA is focused on how much money can we get to have our players here, to have our schools getting what they want, to have our schools doing whatever they want to do, to increase how competitive our leagues are, to increase how many TV deals we have, to increase how much we can pay coaches, to increase how much money we're putting in our own pockets. This is all a big smokescreen, and all I'm seeing is the NCAA is Scrooge McDuck with dollar signs in their eyes.
In my opinion, I think Kirk Herbstreit was talking about this. I think it would be a great idea. I don't know if it will ever happen, but I think it would probably fix a lot of the issues if college football as a whole just broke off and made their own thing. Like, not be a part of the NCAA anymore, and then you would stop with all of this money that would be screwing over all this other sports or the conference realignment that's screwing over all these other sports in the NCAA. If college football was its own self-contained thing, and was able to operate with all this crazy money and everything on its own and not affect all those other sports and not let the NCAA affect it either, would probably be helpful in the long run for everybody.
I'm going to say two things in rebuttal to that. One, all I can see from a preposition like that is basically putting college football out to pasture to pretty much just degrade itself.
Degrade itself.
Like letting them go do whatever they want out in the back while not containing, not regulating. Like, the NCAA is supposed to be a regulatory system for college athletics. They aren't at all.
No,
they aren't at all. So what we're saying, if we're going to go let them be unregulated and do whatever the heck they want to do, where does that leave what college football is going to be in 10 years? Nobody is thinking about college football in 10 years.
I don't think it's going to be.
When we have Pac-12 teams leave the Pac-12 to join the Big Ten, when we have conference realignment, we're not worried about what's happening in the next 10 years. What we're worried about is what's happening in the next year, the next 2 years, the next 3 years. We're not thinking about the health and well-being of college football. The people we have in positions to be worrying about the health and well-being of college football have stopped worrying about that entirely.
Failed.
Secondly, rounding it back to the top of our show, are we trusting a college football committee that leaves a 13-0 Power 5 conference champion out of the playoffs? Are we trusting them to regulate college football in a healthy manner? No.
I wouldn't know. But who would we? I mean, at this point, there's no Kirk Herbstreit, bring Kirk.
I think that initial passing of NIL is
NIL.
Ugh.
NLI is Music Indiana.
Yeah, that's why I think of it. But I think that initial passing of NIL was the beginning of the end for college football
and
college athletics as a whole.
It obviously has. I mean, but here's the thing: it needed to be done. I mean, you cannot just let players that are making billions or millions of dollars for their universities get off with no money. I mean, Joe Burrow.
I don't disagree.
Yeah,
I don't entirely disagree. And I think
you know how much money Joe Burrow made for LSU during that run.
Yeah,
much cash.
I don't disagree, but then it goes right back to the fundamentals.
It's
if you want to talk about
sword.
If you want to talk about LSU's locker room versus LSU's library, if you want to talk about the fact that on average a college education is about $100,000,
yeah,
then maybe we need to be like the money that LSU is bringing in for stuff like this or any university stuff like this needs to go directly back into scholarships, back into university funding, which it's not, because what has happened in recent years is universities just start funneling money in athletics because that's where the money is quote unquote coming from.
It's a double-edged sword.
We're
in a new era of college football. CBS is no longer hosting the SEC. That was depressing. Everything said the Pac-12's dead. Where are we going from here? I don't know. I'll see you all in the All-State sponsored Gatorade Boca Raton Bowl.
Yeah, I think this leaves college football in
a weird place.
In a weird place.
A bad place, probably.
I'm not confident for the future of college football. I'm not confident for the future of the NCAA.
Something has to get figured out. Something will have to get figured out. Otherwise, the cash cow that is college football will implode on itself. And I don't know how it's going to get figured out, what they're going to do, what the NCAA is going to do, what college football is going to do, what all these other high school, college athletic sports are going to do. Not sure. But at some point in time, someone's got to figure it out and help this entire jumbled mess that NIL has created. In your opinion, yes, it really has.
And there'll be more discussions on this going forward as things develop. I don't even this proposal probably won't pass.
I'm sure not.
But no. It will be interesting to follow as we continue. But like I said, I'm not that optimistic. Hate to leave it on a sore note, but thank you all for joining us on this episode of the Underqualified Knuckleheads Sports Podcast. Make sure to follow us on socials and check in around 2 p.m. every Tuesday.
Well, hold on. This is it. This is it. The second to last. Yeah.
This is the last Tuesday because next week we have a different episode planned.
I think so, because last week is the final episode of the semester. This is the second to last episode of season 4, and then season 5. I don't know if we're changing it to qualified knuckleheads or not.
I don't know yet.
I don't think so.
It'll be
probably not.
It'll be the last dance.
Don't
remind me. Either way, thank you guys for joining us. We will see you next week.
Yes, and Underqualified Knuckleheads country.
Take the bus.
Yeah, that works.
Or walk.
Yep.
Just
go home.
Have that. Yeah, have that
fire in your.
Blah, blah, blah.